Hi everyone, welcome to TU Extra and welcome also to this channel. Today I have a very special guest in the studio with me. He is a PhD student of Teesside University. He did his master's in Teesside University and is currently a lecturer, part-time lecturer in Teesside University, and originally of course from Nigeria. I want to bring to you a very distinguished person who has had a lot of experience in media, in journalism, in online radio production, in digital production, and other aspects. You are going to hear a lot about his experience in Teesside University, in Middlesbrough, and how everything began until this moment. I welcome you to studio, Jude Nwabuokei.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I want you to tell us how it all began, the journey to Teesside University. First of all, how did you hear about Teesside University?
Okay, it all started when back in 2019, as a broadcast journalist with the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria in Lagos, where I was working. At the time, not only was I involved in radio production and reporting, I occasionally used to also be at the training school where I would mentor upcoming reporters in news coverage. So my involvement in workshop facilitation and mentoring of IT students who were studying mass communication and other and related disciplines made me realize that I had a thing for teaching, which was something that I did during my days at UI for brief periods before coming into broadcast journalism. So I began to search online for universities in the UK where I would be able to pursue a master's. In the course of surfing the internet, I came across some other institutions, then stumbled upon Teesside University because I wanted an institution that was affordable but at the same time offered quality education. So I weighed the pros and cons. I looked across the various schools and I settled for Teesside. So aside from its affordability, I also wanted a university that was not in any of the mainstream cities. So I didn't want to be in London, I didn't want to be in Manchester, I didn't want a place that had, that metropolitan life. I just wanted to taste a part of England that was a bit far removed from the cities.
Wow.
Yes. So, and maybe it was due to the fact that I was born in a busy city like Lagos. I didn't want to go to London, which in some way reminds me of Lagos and all the rush and all.
True.
I just wanted to be in a place that was a bit more, much more serene, So that also were one of the motivations that led to my choice of Teesside University.
Wow, that's inspiring. So, when you came, you said you came in here in 2019, right?
2019, yes.
Yes, so you came for master's
in
Teesside University. Then you proceeded to go for PhD.
Yes.
What motivated that, please?
That was because I realized that I was interested in teaching and research, in joining the academia. So towards the end of my master's, it became quite clear while I was trying to draft out an exit strategy on what I would do after my master's. I took some time to reflect. So I had two options. I could either go back into broadcast journalism, which was already a terrain I was familiar with,
right,
or I could just choose to go into academia. I actually did try to go into broadcast journalism during my advanced placement, and everything had already gone through. I was already, quite close to joining BBC Radio Tees, because I had already spoken with the manager, one of the managers there at the time, and everything was going. And then COVID struck. In 2020, and it was a time when there was lockdown. So because of COVID, I couldn't work with BBC Radio Tees anymore.
Wow.
So it was within that period that I said, okay, since this hasn't worked out, then that period elapsed. I did my master's project, finished, graduated, and then the next option was to become an academic, which already was something I had in the pipeline. So by October 2021, I started my PhD.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was after the COVID
Yeah.
lockdown.
Yeah.
So you returned to school.
Mm-hmm.
Then, along the line, you became a part-time lecturer
Yes.
at Teesside University.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Remarkably, I had just started my PhD, and it was just one of those evenings when I decided to take a stroll across the university,
Right.
which was not something I usually do because I tend to be an indoor person.
Wow.
And if I have no reason to go out, I just stay indoors. But on this particular day, I had this urge to just
Take a stroll.
take a stroll and walk around.
Yeah.
So in the course of walking around, I met one of my module tutors, Rachel Dodd.
Right.
And we got talking, and she was like, "Oh," and she began to ask, "So what are you doing now?" And I said, "Oh, well, I just started my PhD, so." And then she said, "Oh," and then she asked if I would be interested in teaching, and I said yes. So she asked me to send her an email the following Monday because that was a Friday.
Right.
And as we usually say, the rest is history. So
Wow.
I did all the necessary documentation, and I began to teach modules in digital journalism and public relations.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it is.
Your teaching experience. So now you have like double cap. You are a lecturer and a PhD student.
Yes.
How do you put that together?
Well, it can be quite daunting sometimes, especially in the area of time management.
Right.
Because besides being a PhD student and being a part-time lecturer, there's also the demands from family.
Right.
I'm a husband, I'm a father.
Right.
I have things I also do in church as a church worker.
Yeah.
And so sometimes combining all these things can be quite challenging. But I think it all boils down to time management. I'm the kind of person that believes that you can do as much as you want to do if you know how to manage your time. There will always be people and activities that want to,
Take your
take your
attention.
time, but you need to learn to prioritize.
Wow.
Which was something I had to do. It of course made me step on some toes because of people who didn't like the fact that I wasn't always available
Wow.
when they wanted. But I think over time they got to understand,
Wow.
that sometimes I needed to be selfish and prioritize myself first.
Is understandable. If I may add also, UK is a place where you waste no time.
Oh no. Of course, back in Nigeria, we used to hear that at the time, time is money.
Yes.
It made much more sense here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Every hour counts.
Exactly.
Especially in a situation where you're being paid by the hour. So you realize that you do not have that luxury of time to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So I wanted to ask some funny question. When you were living in Nigeria, do you have like some expectation or some things you were kind of viewing in your mind, imagining that, okay, when I get to the UK, okay, I expected to see this versus what you now came to meet?
Quite frankly, there wasn't much of a shock for me because I did my research.
Right.
Before coming to the UK, I used to travel a lot.
Right.
And already, although I hadn't been to the UK before 2019, I had already touched Europe.
Right.
So I'd been to France, I'd been to Germany, I'd been to the Netherlands.
Right.
And already the little experiences I had during my brief sojourn in those places already gave me some bit of insight as to what to expect.
Right.
So I wasn't expecting it to be easy. I also had friends who were able to give me a little bit of it, although they were not residents in Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
I had friends in Derby, Nottingham, and some other selected UK cities. And from them, I was able to get some realistic pointers as to what to expect. So I actually came prepared for the challenges. I knew there was the financial preparation to make. I understood the fact that when I came, I needed to be able to take care of myself before finding any part-time job or things that students tend to expect. So for me, there wasn't really much of a shock. As for Teesside University turned out to be Much more better than I expected, because initially I wanted to go to one of the Russell Group universities.
Right.
Maybe due to the fact that I went to a school like UI, University of Ibadan. So naturally, I was trying to look out for institutions like Cambridge, Oxford, Bristol, and all those other universities that belong to the Russell Group.
Yeah.
But I looked at Teesside, and being that it was, the one, again, the location, and then the fact that I saw Teesside as a university of the future, as a university that had a lot of potential to compete with these other universities if given the time. So I took time to look at, the mission statement of the university.
Yeah.
I took a lot of time to study the website, which I'm sure most people don't usually do. They just look out for maybe the fees and tuition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I could see that the university was, going somewhere.
Right.
And you can see even from all the infrastructure that is going on at the uni at the moment, you can see that it's a university that already is headed towards competing with even some of the Russell Group unis.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So for me, it was all about the potential. I saw it, and I'm glad to be part of that journey.
Yeah.